Akuma? He wasn't in the movie, was he? What the heck?
Elation and jubilation gamers from all around the world. I am Lucian and this is the World Gamer Show. And while everybody's busy playing Street Fighter 6 with all of its controversies, I thought to revisit another controversial chapter in the Street Fighter story. Street Fighter the movie. The game, based on the movie, which is based on the game, and it's on the original PlayStation. Man, gonna love these big boxes here. After all, this was an original PlayStation launch title. So today we will learn a little bit of history and we will play the game, the PlayStation 1 version that I own, but the game was also available for the Sega Saturn and was also released on the arcade, but that is a completely different game as we will soon see. So let's see if this is truly the stinker everybody makes it out to be, but most importantly, is it better than Street Fighter 6? Well, let's find out. Mortal Kombat was one of the few that dared to go head-to-head against Street Fighter's 2 undisputed dominance in the early 90s. Contrary to the other great games though, like King of Fighters or Fatal Fury, Mortal Kombat decided to go in a different direction, both in terms of graphics and gameplay, in an effort to distantiate itself from the competition and win the crowds of gamers through different means. Enter digitized graphics. Even though Pit Fighter is considered to be the grandfather of digitized graphics, Mortal Kombat is the game that made this peculiar technique popular. It allowed to transform photos and videos of real people, usually martial arts actors, and bring them digitized into the game, making them look ultra-realistic for the time. This is the first thing that sets MK apart, in net contrast to the anime-styled characters of Street Fighter 2. But the next thing would be even more daring. Enter ultra-violence.
Sub-Zero win fatality.
Yes, fatalities, decapitations, and tons of blood. None other game had such an amount of gratuitous violence before Mortal Kombat. At least to reach this level of success, which even led the American government to create the ESRB to regulate the affluence of video games towards the younger audience.
That these are not harmless toys, that they can indeed cause great emotional and other damage to a child.
MK's success was undeniable and unignorable. From the arcade origins, it spawned many sequels, home conversions, and even a ton of portable games. I mean, it's safe to say it's still going strong to this very day. But back in the mid-90s, everybody wanted in on the digitized action. So a ton of clones got released from various companies. Even Capcom themselves wanted to jump on the digitized fighter wagon. They who actually helped inspiring Mortal Kombat in the first place. Irony at its finest. But who could Capcom use as martial arts actors? Well, as luck would have it, Capcom was actually filming their first movie adaptation of the Street Fighter series, simply called Street Fighter. So Bad It's So Good is actually a very fitting way to describe this movie.
That's great news, General. Congratulations.
On the contrary, I mourn.
Okay.
Also, guilty pleasure feels just about right.
Combat testing for all troopers continue to be at random.
Dehydrate yourself.
So yeah, Capcom decided that the stars were aligned to make a Mortal Kombat clone with digitized actors using the actors from the movie, and basically coming full circle in first making a movie about a game, which then would be used as a base to create a game based on a movie that is based on a game. What the actual... Enter Street Fighter the movie. Now, for the arcade version, Capcom decided to allow the American team at Incredible Technologies to develop the game. but the game felt anything but incredible. Critical and fan reception was this. The game didn't look like Street Fighter, and that's a given, but also didn't feel like Street Fighter, like at all. It didn't play like it, and the physics were vastly different, and this alienated everybody. MK fans didn't find the violence that they loved so much, and Street Fighter players didn't find their rock-solid playability. Capcom took note, and for the planned home port for the Sega Saturn and the Sony PlayStation, they decided to take over and develop it in-house. Right move. Capcom was really smart with the sport and did the only sensible thing, combine the aesthetic of the movie, which again alienated a ton of fans, with the gameplay of the excellent Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, one of the most recent episodes at the time, in an effort to at least win some fans back. Did it work? Yes and no.
I don't understand.
Yes, because at a superficial glance, Street Fighter the movie is almost a reskin of Super Street Fighter 2, just with digitized actors thrown in. This means that the gameplay is solid, all the classic characters and their special moves are here and accounted for. Hadoukens, Shoryukens, spinning bird kicks, electrocution, all here. But the arcade version of the game already had a pretty bad reputation, and on top of that, even the movie itself wasn't exactly well regarded either, even though it was a moderate success at the box office.
Was the most important day of your life.
And of course, the constant comparison to Mortal Kombat didn't do Street Fighter the movie any favor. SF tried to beat MK at its own game, so of course comparisons will arise. Moreover, this PS1 version of Street Fighter the movie would be published by none other than Acclaim, the publisher of a ton of MK games. And SF the movie actually did show some blood during some of the attacks, even though it wasn't nearly as violent as Mortal Kombat. So yeah, Street Fighter the movie might actually be the closest thing we will ever get to a Mortal Kombat vs Street Fighter crossover. All these reasons led to Street Fighter the movie, the game, on PS1 to commercial and critical failure. But did it deserve it?
Yes?
I don't think so.
You have made me a happy man.
I think this game had a lot going for it beyond the digitized gimmick. It even expanded the gameplay of Super Turbo in some areas. For example, once the Super Meter would reach its fullest, not only you could perform the classic Super Combo, but if you press 2 attack buttons to perform each special move instead of 1, you will also perform enhanced version of said special move. For example, normal Hadouken is done by pressing quarter forward and one of the punches. If you press quarter forward plus 2 of the punch buttons at the same time, you will shoot 2 Hadoukens in a row. And you can repeat this as many times as you want, as long as you keep your super meter full. That's savage. And this is something that would later be explored in other more recent games, but it actually started with Street Fighter the movie. Cool, huh? The video will resume straight after a short commercial break.
Next generation gaming and mega movie-based action collide in Street Fighter, the movie. Digitized characters from the film plus all new super attacks and combo finish moves make this the best Street Fighter yet, from Acclaim.
The exclusive features of this game don't end here. There is an exclusive character only available in this game, Sawada. His moveset is interesting, but his animations are by far the weakest of the bunch. Moreover, there's even a secret character who didn't appear in the movie. Yes, Akuma is also present. Unlockable with a cheat code, even though he was normally selectable in the arcade, and he even has a super special move, even though it's not the Raging Demon. As in Super Turbo, Akuma didn't even have a super special move, while the rest of the cast actually did. Even in the modes department, the game has something to say. We have the classic arcade ladder, but here it's called Street Battle. Then we have survival and versus mode, which are pretty self-explanatory. And no practice mode, unfortunately, as it was the style at the time. But to compensate, we have an exclusive mode called Movie Battle. This is actually pretty interesting, since it is a sort of choose-your-own-adventure style of game, which mixes real battles, on film, wink wink, with visual novel-style panels taken from the movie, and text to explain everything. At many points during your playthrough, you will be asked to choose one of the available options, which will allow you to experience different paths and enemies on your way to the final fight against the main villain, Bison. Thanks to these multiple paths, this mode is pretty replayable too, so that's a plus. Admittedly, the music is nothing to write home about, especially when compared to the great classics that spoiled us in the original games, even though there's a nice and cheesy music video clip you can unlock called Something There by Chage and Aska. Pure gold. The graphics aren't as sharp as the arcade counterpart, pretty much the only nice thing that it has going for it, and the animations are basically cut in half.
You'll have to do better than that, okay?
But the gameplay is what matters the most, and this is basically lifted from Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo almost 1-to-1. So yeah, overall, this game is not so bad. It actually has many good things going for it, and receives a ton of hate which should only be redirected to the arcade version of the game in my opinion. And where else can you see Kylie Minogue cosplaying as Cammy in a tight costume? Only here. That's why Street Fighter the movie gets a...
That was beautiful.
out of 10. So, is this game better than Street Fighter 6? Well, I'm not so sure about that, but at least this one doesn't include this guy.
Either way, we're more than happy to have you!
But that is just one guy's opinion of the internet, and now I want to know yours, down in the comments. Did you play this game back when it was released?
Do not presume so much.
Maybe you played the arcade version. Did you hate on this as much as many other people did?
Of course!
Share your thoughts and memories in the comment section down below. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe, like, and do all the yada yada that the YouTube algorithm really loves. It really does help this small channel grow, and it's just a button press away for you. But really, I just want to thank you so much for spending some of your precious time to watch this video. I will see you in my next one, but until then, stay safe, play safe, world gamers.